I wish I have appreciated the time that I had when I was a junior NCO, right? Sure, right now as Sergeant First Class, my influence is getting bigger, right? My responsibilities, the level of responsibilities. But I didn't appreciate my rank as a sergeant E5 and as a corporal, because really they're the ones that are out there with the soldiers, right? They're the one that's training the soldiers. So just the level of responsibility that I have seen, and just the amount of influence that you have. I mean, think about it, right? Going back to, I didn't choose my NCOs back then, or now be as an NCO, they didn't choose me as their NCO. Both strangers coming together, and I'm supposed to take care of these new strangers, right? And it's an honor to be there for my soldiers, for the ups and downs, success, right? To their challenges, to be there for them when they welcome a new addition to their family or when they lose somebody. To be in that position with the soldiers, not a whole lot of people can say that they can be there for somebody like that. I would say that when I was a young sergeant or a corporal, I think there are a lot of discipline or training, right, that I could have done. Like sometimes we pass by, right, and it's always uncomfortable to correct somebody, to come up to somebody and be like, hey, you're wrong, right? What you're doing is wrong. So growing up in the Army, it's always hard to have that. And it didn't come natural to me because I'm not really good at conflicts. I don't like conflicts, right? But I realized that if you want to help, change someone for the better, there will be conflicts because you're going to have to disagree with them. And that was a struggle for me. And I think I have allowed some of my soldiers back then to be whatever, let's just say that, right? Because I didn't have the confidence back then to correct them, right? To tell them like, hey, I am your sergeant, and together we can make you a really great soldier. Also, I didn't take the time and I didn't prioritize my time back then to really train my soldiers. I saw the Army as something that you just go to work, right? You go to work, you go home, and then you don't realize the influence that, depending on that mindset that you come in with, is that how much it travels, right, with your soldiers. So I think at that point, there are a lot of soldiers that I have failed because I wasn't knowledgeable enough. I wasn't strong enough, had the confidence to get them right and to get leaders that are higher ranking than me. You see them do wrong things and it's hard, and then that's something that I was able to develop because I knew that if I wanted to change the Army for the better, that you're going to have that personal courage. One of the things that I've seen is, this more of the senior NCOs now and senior leaders that we have are, they do have that traditional kind of the hard Army kind of mentality, right? And then when they say something or they do something, most soldiers, and they're like, well, that's just an old school Army. That's just an old school Army way, right? But with the times as an agile leader, right? And you have to be able to adapt, right? I always say you can make the best idea. You can create the best idea in the world and package it the wrong way and send it to the next soldier, right? Communicate to the next soldier, but not in a way that they will receive it. That is not the best idea because no one will get it, right? So leadership comes in different forms, in different tones, right? There are certain things when you talk, for example, when you're talking about safety, you have to be direct, right? Because you're talking about safety. But when you're just correcting somebody, I think there's your tone of your voice, your mannerism, the way you approach the soldiers. There are better ways for the soldier to actually receive what you're saying, your feedback. So they leave there learning something rather than rejecting that feedback and resenting you. So I think, when you have the old school mentality where you go my way or the highway kind of mentality, right? I think it doesn't go as well now, especially with our current soldiers. And that's me being, coming from a drill sergeant duty before I got here at Fort Riley. I see that a lot, The soldiers are looking for mentorship, not really to get yelled at, I would say, not to get talked down, right? But they're looking for somebody to tell them and guide them. And they can be, you can correct them once, and then sometimes they still don't get it right. But then they still looking for that guidance, because at some point it will click to them that my NCOs are not here to berate me, not here to be toxic, but they're here to make me a better soldier.